Fear not, citizens, I'm here to rescue you, for I am Jolt Taxidermy.
Jolt Taxidermy? Wait, what? What are you talking about? Is that your superhero name?
But that's like my whole vibe and power combined into one.
No, I'm not getting rescued by someone named Jolt Taxidermy. Smashing two words together does not make you a superhero. Get out of here.
Tremble in fear, ne'er-do-wells, for I am Shasta, Cavalier.
Stop.
High school, a time of discovery, awkward phases, early romances, and according to a vast amount of iconic touchstones from Spider-Man to Buffy, perilous adventuring. Super Squad High is a cooperative game where players take on the role of a hero at Excelsior High School, whose heroic capabilities and initial loadout of gear are defined by a really welcome and easily managed combination of student and power. Over the course of several rounds, players use worker placement where their workers and the spaces that they can go to are restricted by 3 phases of day, morning, afternoon, and evening, to complete class assignments, battle crime populated across the city, and crucially, befriend classmates on either side of the board who give you clue tokens to ultimately reveal the 3 pieces of villainous information that lets you tackle a final challenge. If all of this is accomplished before 5 damage tokens are distributed as a result of penalties from tests or failure to fight crime, and before the crime deck runs empty, players win. On its face, this game is really enjoyable. It's got a beautiful presentation, the trisected worker placement for the different phases a day is interesting, if a little underutilized given how restrictive and prescriptive it is with the number of workers that you have to use per phase, and that it doesn't really emphasize any flavorful differences aside from hangouts at night that give a distinct vibe to any time of day. But nonetheless, the phases a day are trying for something that has been done before in worker placement, but not really with this lighter approach to gaming. And the challenge system is pretty cool too. Place your worker on a crime, roll the listed number of dice, use abilities on your hero, discard costume cards from your hand to cancel out the particular shade of damage rolled, suffer any remaining consequences, then get the reward. Smart play is about using the action spaces of the 4 different training types to complete classes, which then leads to being able to refresh more cards at the end of each round, aka your discard pile, aka your laundry, or using those same spaces to instead acquire new cards to face more challenges, strengthening your overall options and preparing you to take on challenges in the immediate. The thing is, the number of action spaces to complete each crime that comes up per player is 2. 2 workers are going to have to be dedicated to these crimes, assuming one person doesn't bear it all upon their back. And you're going to have to roll 3 to 4 dice on each of the challenges. And if you don't have tools to mitigate those challenges, several of the faces of those dice put out one of the 5 precious damage tokens in reserve that are permanently distributed amongst the board. And if you fail to complete crimes, or if you choose not to, which they're only fightable during the phase a day it was revealed, you guarantee a damage token being distributed, going on to the villain's scheme, making them harder, which means you're putting damn near everything into these fights determined by a heck of a lot of dice rolls. And you're left with very little room for creative decisions. The game loop becomes very reactive and demanding, not bad, just a little less strategically vibrant than I would hope for. Though we have yet to talk about making friends, something that I love in real life and kinda loathe in this game. Much to-do is made of this friendship system, introducing 4 more decks of cards, 3 different types of tokens that have to be mixed and put out amongst the classmates along the perimeter, and rely on players to switch cadence from a precise and challenging strategy game to a memory and social game. Each classmate has secret, silly, sad, and flirty symbols, which individual players can peek at by taking chat actions corresponding to that classmate's type. Then, at the end of the day, the only static action type unique to nighttime, you can take an action to hang out with a type of classmate. The player to your left draws a card for the kid's category, reads you a prompt, and according to the rules, you have to give some creative and fun thematic answer that relates to the symbol you believe or possibly know relates to this emotion. Get it right, and you proceed with the next prompt until you guess wrong and all revealed tokens are flipped back face down. Or correctly guess all three and make that classmate a sweetheart or bestie to help recover health or resources and open up an action spot for players to go to. And most importantly, you get their clue, which fills in the information bar to reveal the villain's final challenges. I like creative and sometimes weird stuff in games, but this is a big swing and a miss. The whole social element just feels awkward and has no real game impact other than derailing the entire pace, and the need to remember secret information feels incongruent with the rest of the systems and weirdly reliant on cognitive capabilities. I'd way rather, as you chat with friends, you just flip the tokens face up for all players to see, and Hangouts allow you to guess at unrevealed tokens, stripping away the whole card narrative and memory element. I mean, you can take away the whole fun, creative storytelling element and just say what the symbols are and house rule the flip up of the tokens to remain flipped up so you're not having to memorize all that stuff. But it's just a bad system. I really don't like it. Outside of that, though, Super Squad High is sharp, if a bit narrow, and I've been really hungry for some cooperative games lately, and this does some really fun things with the character mix and match and combat systems. The solo mode is really fluid, and it proves to be challenging, with a sense of growth and capability and desperation to stave off defeat. I just wish there was more latitude with how you approach the game to make your strategy and your characters feel meaningful and unique. That's not this game. For this old fuddy-duddy who loves comic books and superheroes and strategy and social games alike, in spite of some really promising elements, Super Squad High just doesn't pass muster. And that's our review. But let me know, what are your favorite superhero knockoffs and pastiches and remixes of old familiar concepts that aren't, the major universes? Put it in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting, thanks for being such an awesome community. I've been Jack for the Cardboard Herald.